New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Hello, it's me, Bonnie Gonzalez, your doula for grief. How are you today? I hope you had a spectacular Easter, Passover, if you're in the middle of Ramadan, whatever you're celebrating, I just hope the best for you, and just thank you for joining me. And you all know why I'm here, and if you don't, you're about to find out. I am your doula for grief. I am a registered nurse, a life coach, and a science of mind, religious, spiritual practitioner, all rolled into one. And here to continue our conversations about grief. And just want to say that grief needs to be heard. Grief needs to be validated. That's how the healing begins. And as I've said before, grief is just caused by loss. So many losses that we experience in our lives. So that's what we're doing here today. And I want you to feel free to drop a comment, ask a question. I've been getting some really wonderful questions after the show. So if the question is there now, just pop it into the comments and I'll definitely address it or answer it. And so today I have a really special guest who also has a program on New Thought Media Network, and it is Caring for Caregivers, and their program airs at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So my guest today is Donna Andervis. And I don't know if Norma's here with us, but I see the name. But, oh, she is here. Oh, my gosh, I'm a happy chica right now. So let me get through a little bit of introduction for our topic today. As I've said, they both host Caring for the Caregivers, which is just, oh, my goodness, it's a theme that is so close to my heart, having been a nurse for so many years. And I don't know where Donna and Norma were back in my days of doing critical care nursing, because I sure could have used your advice. But now that I'm not there doing that, I just want to just partner with you to help continue to care for caregivers, and not just in acute care setting, but in the home, at chronic conditions. And that is really, those caregivers are truly isolated. I know, I've done home health, and they are isolated. In the hospital, we have a companionship. We have our peers that we can run to say, oh, what do you think about this? But when you're a caregiver in the home setting, you are it. So I just want to say I'm just so excited to see both of you that it kind of caught me a little bit off guard. So what I was thinking of today, because when we're talking about caring for the caregivers and what caregivers face, not only the care of their patients, but I as a nurse found that there was something called anticipatory grief that was also a part of what I call the caring package, because lots of times people that I cared for had end-stage illnesses or terminal illnesses or end stage. And there would come a day that, yes, they would definitely transition. And leaving that caregiver with the grief of after the death, but not only that, even before the death. So anticipatory grief will be something that we can touch on today, but I really, really want Donna and Norma to share their story as to how they came up with such, oh my gosh, such a valuable service. And Donna, I will take a minute. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take a minute. I will introduce you, and then I'll give you the honor of introducing Norma. And I want to say you both look so beautiful, so tropical.
Yeah, we're in our tropical vibes today.
Thank you for looking pretty, but you look pretty anyway. So, Donna is a Reiki master, a sound healing practitioner, a registered frontline nurse, not just registered nurse, but frontline nurse, esthetician, an Interfaith Alliance of Divine Love minister. Donna's also a life coach. And Donna and Norma are owners of Your Phoenix is Rising, Inc. And Donna calls herself a possibilitarian. Did I say that correctly? A possibilitarian. I better not say it 3 times fast. Encouraging people to rise from the ashes of their past and into a new experience to live their best life. And they both reside in Ocala, Florida. So thank you so much, and thank you for allowing me to kind of ramble there a little bit with all that. But I'm just super excited. And this is what super excited looks like. So,
thank you, Bonnie.
I'm going to add too, she's also a science of mind practitioner.
Yeah, looks like you both are science of mind practitioners, Norma.
Multifaceted. I tell people are always asking us, well, how come you're all of that stuff? And I'm like, because there's so many different parts to a person. Why do I use this one?
Yes.
You can develop all the parts of me. And
right.
That's essentially it. And then I came into this experience to meet this amazing person, Norma Anderson. And together we're Andervis. So my last name is Davis and her last name is Anderson, which is the last names given to us from our ex-husbands, and our children have those last names. So we put them together, and that's how we came with Andervis.
I saw that.
Yes, people see it on the website as well. But Norma is also a Reiki master and a massage therapist.
Oh, wow.
She's also a practitioner, and we've been on this journey together, what we are observing in healthcare and what we have experienced ourselves as caregivers for our mother who was aging home and lived with us, as well as caring for teenagers, other people's children who came to us and needed our help. We are also been instrumental within our community to just lend our essence to everyone out there in the world, to be that space of love and a soft place to land is what created in our space at our center. And so I feel that the reason why we do this is because we know what it feels like to be there and need the help. And we know what it feels like to feel alone and to want to give of yourself, but then you give so much there. And what the dangers can happen if we are not caring for those who care for those who are vulnerable. And so that's why we started caring for caregivers. We had certain tools that we used that helped us on the line when we were in the front lines of COVID, when we're at the hospital, when we're at the bedside with mom, when we're out there at community events, whatever it is you're doing, when you're caring for someone who is vulnerable, a child, an elder, someone who's sick, you're giving and giving and giving because it's necessary. They can't do it for themselves. But what can you do to then help you not go nuts and completely lose it when you're supposed to be holding for this person who cannot hold for themselves, like a child, for example.
Punishment.
So that you don't take it out on those that are vulnerable. And so that you can show up and give the gift that you have. You know, I love helping people, and I want to be able to show up and give that gift. And I have to be self-aware.
Oh, it's so true. I was going to say, what is that expression? Giving from your excess and not from your deficit.
Oh,
Definitely.
yes.
And I attribute that syndrome, as I call it, of the giver, that just being socialized as females, especially in my experience, it was to, oh, Bonnie, if you're thinking about yourself, you're being selfish. You're not thinking about other people. So I really got socialized in that way. And being a caring person, it was easy to start to just give myself away. So I know that you and Norma have this beautiful practice of taking care of others. I know, Donna, you're a nurse, and Norma, massage therapist. What do you two do to take care of Donna and Norma when the lights are off on the camera, on the television, you're out of the hospital, you're out of your spa? What do you do? What do you two do to take care of yourselves?
Well, one of the things we do, we started on a retreat in Jamaica that once a year we take, 14, 15 other people with us, and we just go for, we call it a transformation vacation.
Mm-hmm.
It's a week that we go, and there are no have-tos. We've created an all-inclusive. We don't have to worry about what we're going to eat next. We have a chef there that does all of that. It's right on the water, and it has that also has this Amazon-like cottages, scattered out, and it's just a place to just go and be. Yoga meditation room. It's just a perfect place for us and a lot of like-minded people. And for a full week, we go and just get pampered, be taken care of. Things that bring us joy. We do stand back, we do yoga, we do karaoke, just the things that fun, So that's one of the things that we do.
Yes.
Major scale.
And on a small scale, all the things that we share with people on caring for caregivers is stuff that we do. It's just like practices that we do when we're in the moment or when we come home to say, oh my goodness, this really did help me. In this moment that I was having an anxiety attack today at work because I had a bad day or my body is aching, now what? We do these very practices that we're telling people about because we want to know if it helps. And we're truthfully saying, did this really help while I was in that moment? And that's the answer. And then we invite others to share their stuff that helped. The truth is, we're all in this journey together. All of us are in the spiritual practices. All of us are rising together. It's not just that I'm above here and I know everything. I'm also practicing the very thing that I'm telling you. So I won't tell somebody replenish your cup by doing this if I'm not doing it. Right. And every single tool we give people are tools that we have learned or had shared with us, and now we're sharing with others. That's really important.
And because we are individuals, there's some things that work for her that may not work for me. So there's just a bucket of tools which you dig around in it and figure out what works for you. What's going to actually be the thing that replenishes you, fills your soul, makes you become alive again.
Right.
One stop shop. One thing fits everybody.
And I love that you're saying that we are in this together. And we are growing together and learning from each other together. That we learned, as you said, learning and listening to other people. And I know, Norma and Donna, I was just really tickled one day you had to show on what, things to do and like calling a friend. And Donna was saying, oh, yeah, we just go chip chat back and forth and, cut each other off. And because you're so in the flow of the conversation. And Norma said, no, I don't have time for that. And just hang on, I'm done. And I thought to myself, that is so true. What works for one doesn't work for another. When you say, if just for instance, say calling a friend, maybe I don't need a chatty Cathy right now. Maybe I just need that, calm, still person on the other end. So I do just in awe of that you are just so in tune with the fact that what you're recommending is not for everybody. That expression, everything ain't for everybody.
And there's so many different combinations that are available to people. So, what will work because of one's background won't work for another. For some people, singing is a trigger. But singing is a joy. And so if I recommend to them, you should sing, blah, 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 because it'll make you feel better. And it's going to bring a trigger for them and then send them down the rabbit hole even further. They have to try it in their life and ask themselves, does this work? And if the answer is, it doesn't work for me, and not get so caught up in the, oh my gosh, there's something wrong with me because it didn't work for me. It's, oh my gosh, it means that tool is not my tool. That's all. A carpenter doesn't have a meltdown because he doesn't use electrical tools. It's not his tool. He's a carpenter.
Right. Yeah, as you said, I tell someone to meditate, have a sitting practice of meditating. It's like, I can't do that. It's like, okay, then how about a walking meditation? Just walking, moving. Some people really do need to move. That silence is just, I'm going to implode with the silence. But, doing other or offering other techniques. And I wanted to ask you, how did you, or whose idea was it to do the program on caring for caregivers? Who wants to take credit for that and why?
I think it was me.
I think it was a combo between her and Robert Brzezinski.
Oh, getting Reverend Robert all wrapped up in this, huh?
Yes. We got to talking. You know what it was? We were at Big Sky, Montana, and we were talking about the experience that was the COVID experience, and sharing the story there at the table with David Auld and Robert Brzezinski. Robert brought David Auld over and was like, tell him what you guys did in New York, how you guys were helping those using our training and our teaching in the science of mind, and as practitioners, what the angle that we were coming on from. When everybody else was coming from the healthcare angle, we were coming from the angle of sustainability for those who were at the front lines. And so he said, tell us what you were doing. And we were sharing that story with everyone. And that's when Robert was like, I would love for there to be some way to communicate that to others who may be also going through this. How can we do that? And then that's when we decided, hey, maybe we should do a show. And we had done something before that was just doing spiritual mind treatment. Yeah, I was doing spiritual mind treatment on different topics. I did that for a little bit online. And then I was like, okay, what else do we really need? Because we can do a prayer every time, but what if a person doesn't have time to sit and listen to the mind treatment? They're in the gut in that moment. Is there other tools they can pull on? And that's when Caring for Caregivers was born.
Wow. So that was the birthing of Caring for the Caregivers. I just, as I said, love that program and can't sing its praises loud enough. I want everybody tuning in.
Oh, man, I love your program. Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
This is definitely so needed because it's all these conversations about stuff in a real way and in real time to say, okay, this is what we have gone through. This is what we have experienced. So many people going, yes, we're all talking about this as the problem.
Yes.
What do we do?
What is the solution? What is the solution? We can all offer just a laundry list of the problems, but let's get a longer laundry list of the solutions to those problems.
Correct. Because healthcare is having an issue right now. And nurses, as you know, shortages and all this sort of stuff. So why do people get burnt out? What is happening to caregivers? And that's when we decided to start targeting it.
And I think the show helps to give validation to those who are not paid professionals in the caregiving industry, like the mothers that are caring for their children, the mothers that are caring for their mothers. Just everyone outside of the actual paying industry of caregiving, realizing that yes, you too are a caregiver, and you too are sometimes suffering some of these same stressors.
Yes.
And
caregiver role strain. I'm sure you have a nursing diagnosis.
Yeah.
Caregiver role strain, especially after something like a pandemic.
Yes.
People are feeling like people didn't appreciate everything that we did because now they're turning on us. Now there's all this stuff happening within our healthcare field and also within families who are trapped at home with dementia parents or children with ADHD or whatever they had to show up with and give of themselves at a time when they were locked in with it. Now what? And we still show up. It's not like these people are going anywhere. Children are being born, old people are getting older. It's not going to change. How can we then combat this thing in a different way while still using the modality and the system that is the healthcare?
Mm-hmm. Wow, Donna, you've touched on so many things, and it's up to me as the facilitator now to keep things, on track, trying to follow some ideas. But you just have such wonderful and deep, thoughts and expressions and feelings around things. There was one thing you talked about, saying the non-professional caregiver. The non-professional caregiver, you're right, gets lost or doesn't always get the respect that they have earned. There were times, because I was a single parent with 4 kids and working, sometimes I felt like a double caregiver coming home to take care of my family.
Right.
And, we don't get a check beside that for that. That's just a given. So I love that you have embraced put all of us under the umbrella of caregivers, the non-professional, the semi-professional, and the professional. So thank you for recognizing that. I'm trying to think, I want to just acknowledge a couple people that have come on. Deb Loves, I saw that she had some comments there. I just want to give her some love. I know that she loves both of you, and I think she loves me too.
Yes.
And she's got the right name. So we got our buddy Wayne out there, and Deb is talking about, I think I saw a comment, that dancing is a meditation. Because if she sits down, it's a bit rough for her to be silent. Dancing is a meditation for me because the sit down is a bit rough. Yeah. And yes, there's something about music that can just alter your consciousness in just a second of hearing a few beats of a song. So thank you. So now I just want to back up to Donna, and I know that Norma was with you during this whole period of the pandemic. Do you want to share your thoughts around that now that you have some distance, or just sharing what transpired for you during the pandemic? And then we can talk about seeing it from a distance, if there really is a distance from it. I'm not sure. So if you don't mind.
So with the pandemic, and just going back to that anticipatory grief that you're talking about, in walking into that, I had never experienced death at that level. Where so many patients were leaving the planet so quickly that we just couldn't get in front of it. No matter what we tried everything. It just wouldn't stick. We were losing these patients. As a med-surg nurse, usually, because I don't work ICU, I don't usually have people that are passing that quickly.
Oh, I see.
Very rare. When I think at that point in my 8 years of being a nurse, I've had one patient expire on me. So I did not have the experience of patients leaving, like having to close them and, oh my God, time of death. Oh my God, time of death. So it was that feeling of trying to get in front of this thing, like the grief was coming in such a big wave.
Yeah.
Hitting us, not just us, like, oh, I lost another one. That feeling of run over here. Like it was a whole team of people that each person were trying to bring back. It's this feeling of, I anticipate that they're going to pass away, but I can do nothing about it. And the feeling of grasping at straws the whole time. And to do that every single patient, that you almost don't have time to grieve losing the patient. So you take on the grief and you take on the grief. And then, of course, you have an entire world that's screaming at you, going, we want to see our family, we want to see our family, and you're standing between me and my family. So now I'm speaking to the anticipatory grief of the family, who's now, because you're the one getting the message back and forth. And then you have the hospital administration going, what's happening, and this is the rules, and this is how you charge, and da 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 da, I mean, go 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 go, and after a while, you feel like a machine.
Mm-hmm.
Your self shuts down, and you just task, and it's almost like your humanity shuts down. And then you get home, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm now in PTSD because I didn't feel it today.
Mm-hmm.
I shoved it and shoved it and shoved it, all
Mm-hmm.
the while being afraid for your own family and your own, oh my gosh, what if I never, because I was a traveler in New York. What if I catch this thing and I end up in one of these New York hospitals that I'm working in and never be alive?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very real fear for us. I'll never see my family again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where Norma came in. And she was massaging and talking to the nurses and getting them to get it out of their bodies, and while taking care of the physical pain that comes with being on your feet and wanting to feel that.
Well, I think what Donna didn't realize at the time was that, yes, she was there nursing the patients and whatever it is that she could do for them, but she was also nursing the nurses.
Mm-hmm.
For and with practitioner classes and what have you. She was there giving them encouragement, giving them hope, giving them, keeping the momentum going and help keeping their spirits as high as they could be, to get through their day, to get through to the next day. So and I would find this out because almost all of them would come to me for massage because New York was there was nothing there for them to go and do or any release of any kind. So when they were there with me, they would talk
Mm-hmm.
through some of the things that they were holding inside, and a lot of it was appreciation for Donna and how they wouldn't be able to get through those shifts without Donna being there.
Mm-hmm.
And she realized the impact that she was having on those people. She was being her normal self. She's always encouraging. She's always trying to help people, with their best expression of themselves. And it, I think, was what kept a lot of people there longer than they had signed up for, because it was there as their lifeline to hope.
Right. I was gonna, go ahead. Go ahead.
Missing because they would reach out and say, Miss Donna, I'm having an issue with blah blah blah. But just having a lifeline that was there that they could reach out to. A lot of times in nursing, you have administrators that you should be able to reach out to, but they're in their own story and running around doing their thing. And that was what was so effective. And what I love that crucial staffing did was put team leads in place.
Mm-hmm.
So that they had a lifeline to go back to, somebody who would advocate for them. And in those moments, we could say, oh, I'm really having a difficult time with this patient that I feel is not getting the care they need, or I feel something else could be done. What can I do? Because the feeling of control was so gone that you just felt like you were in front of this big wave that was death, and there was nothing you can do about it. So you just not back.
Right. I just wanted to ask Donna, Norma, that you're saying you were doing massaging and physical soothing types of therapy. Did you partner with the hospital, or did you and Donna do this on your own? How did that come about, Norma, that you were so instrumental in this, healing of, or not even healing, but getting nurses through
Mhm.
this
I
path?
think it started actually before we even got to New
It
York.
was purely an accident.
Well, we were in New York. We were in Orlando in the airport awaiting our flight, and we knew not what we were getting into. We didn't even really know what COVID was at the time.
Mm-hmm.
We just knew it was something that paid well, and we were gonna go and see. Because we didn't know what it was, I'm like, you're not going by yourself. So
That's great. That's
when we were there in the Orlando airport, we did a prayer, and we said that basically, in a nutshell, we want to be able to be used in the best way for with our abilities, and our gifts and talents.
Yeah. Like use me, oh God, use me.
Yes. So we got there, and the crucial staff didn't even know I was there. I just went on up down a room, and because I would make sure that her clothes were washed and she ate and whatever, so that she could be this machine that they needed her to be. Well, I think somehow my name ended up on the bathroom wall. That Donna was
time or for a good massage.
Yes.
Well, okay. So I shared my tools with the other nurses. I said, listen, they were like, oh my God, Miss Donna, my back, my legs, my da 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 da. You know, because you're going through this physical thing. You're on your feet for these 12 hours. I'm talking about running. And so a lot of the nurses wanted to stay because the money was going to help them in their own lives with their own families. That was the first thing. The second thing was we were here to flatten the curve. That was like a big thing, flatten the curve, flatten the curve. So when I told them, listen, I suffer from back pain too, and my wife came along with me. When we first got there, it was not against the rule. Like nobody said, don't bring a partner with you. It wasn't part of the thing. So she came along. And because I stayed, she stayed. And nobody ever said your partner has to leave. So she stayed. And she was,
I think she told one person she was getting massages.
and then that one person told somebody else, oh my God, my back was killing me yesterday. And when people are in pain and they have something that helps, don't tell nobody, but maybe she can help you. We know that you have this injury from blah, blah, blah. Maybe we can help. Or we know your feet are hurting from blah, blah, blah. You don't want to go home. Let me help. And so we started helping each other within that matrix that was happening there. And of course, Crucial had their own stuff that they put in place too. They didn't have massage therapists, but they had like counselors and things like that. So we just kind of helped each other, essentially, helping each other and, talking with each other and connecting and getting through this together. And as a community, as a nursing community, we did that. If we knew of something that was going to help somebody, we plugged into it. And that was how she ended up being. I mean, it was night shift and day shift.
Yeah,
so day shift would tell night shift. I'm like, you guys.
Wow.
You're supposed to be here. But nobody said anything, so we just kind of left it in.
But there's no coincidences, because I know, because I've been a traveler and worked with travelers, and normally there is no one that can come with you, normally. And so, Norma, you have the right name, Norma.
Yeah, because it wasn't, and it was the first time of any of us were dealing with this pandemic thing that nobody came out and said, hey, by the way, if you're coming, you can't bring your partner. So there were other partners there, and some were asked to leave because of, how they were, they were not.
They were doing the butting heads and
because they're under stressful times. Those are stressful conditions, and your normal relationship flow is totally disrupted. So yes, I can see that tension and friction and working long shift. And I want to just address this. Nurses working in the hospital during this pandemic, taking care of everybody, but not being allowed to deal with their own fears. Did you find that? Did you find that there were a lot of nurses in fear of their own?
Some left because of it. The original contract.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't do this.
And of course the Black Lives Matter movement started at the same time that we were there. So there were marches happening. And of us that were trying to flatten this curve, and now we got people out there marching. We're like, please don't congregate. So there was also that fear. And then there was fear of, but I need to do something too. So that also came up. Some nurses did march. In the middle of all of that. And then there were those who had their families going through stuff. Like our mother was in hospice and left the planet. My sister and her sister. And we would come home. And there was fear around, do I come home and be with my family and completely shut that off and not able to make the money or help anybody anymore?
And endanger them in the process.
And endanger them. Or stay where I am.
Yes, to go home to your family. Yes, exposing them to what you've been exposed to.
Yeah, exactly.
Going to keep them safe.
And there's a lot of people who dealt with that. But they were like, oh my God, my family needs me, but I can't go around my kids for 2 weeks. I have to be on quarantine. I can't be at home.
Yes, there's a great concern for family. I was doing home health at that time. And I know, coming home, going in the garage, changing clothes, and, carrying that kind of extra stress of not wanting to infect your family. That was a good thing. And I want to ask this question because that, what you guys were doing was the equivalent of being in a war zone. Let's just put it that way, in a war zone. And so many people suffer, post-traumatic stress syndrome. So I want to ask you, how did your spiritual practice play into this? Or just tell me how you thought your spiritual practice played into this, or if it didn't.
My spiritual practice was a huge, huge part to play in this. Because had I not seen this, in Science of Mind, we say it's all God. And it's hard to say it's all God when you're in the middle of the war zone and watching this unfold. And you're thinking, how is this God? I didn't ask how. I just saw it as an experience. And I remember having this conversation with one of the nurses because she lost a family member to COVID. And she said her family wanted her to somehow, pull whatever she could pull, not that we have any power at all, but that her family wanted her to come home and demand that they are able to see him while he was transitioning. And I said, it's not possible. And you cannot change that rule or law for anyone. And to get her to understand it, she said, but he's leaving 2 small kids behind. And I remember it dropped into my spirit to say this to her, that you're thinking of him as a victim. Your family leader is being added to the count. Science and forward motion in medicine doesn't happen without there being a count of bodies, people. And your family member has added to that thing that is going to now drive science and research to make the world better for his children and children and children. And so because of his sacrifice, his children can now walk in a world that's a little safer. That is how you their father. You don't go, oh, he's a victim, he's a critic. No. He's a warrior, and his life was given for these advancements in research, for this, so that we could stop this, so that they may live. And that's how you talk to them. Father. And that's how I looked at it, because I saw it as all God. And everything is happening in motion, and everything is happening for a reason. And because I don't see the outcome of the story in that moment, it doesn't mean that I'm not being taken on a journey or an experience with other people. Because the experience is separate from who we are. And once I step out of the human experience, then I can paint that picture for people to see that it's an experience we're having together.
Yes. And I just had a little feedback. I don't know what that was, but I was going to say, I know that you were saying that about their loved one being about to make in the future. And in that moment, as you're telling them that, it may not have been soothing, just what they wanted to hear, but later, when you move away from the experience, I bet those words are still being carried in that person's heart right now. Because, what is that? Never underestimate the power of what you do and what you say. You never know. It's like planting a seed. You never know when it's going to take root. So for you to be there and to be that inspiration in that moment, feel that is just for your own life, something that you can take away with just tremendous, pride and faith encouraging for yourself when you say those words. It's faith encouraging for yourself. And I wanted to just add that, what is it? That suffering is not accepting what is. It's like accepting that, yes, as you said, God is in the middle of this, but accepting that this is happening and then being able to move forward. It frees up that energy when you are, instead of being in resistance, but more in that acceptance and going with the flow. So thank you. Can you hear me okay? I don't know. I think we had a little gremlin in the computer. I don't know if I can hear you. No. I can't hear you. Let's try again. What I will do until we get our sound back, I'm going to just read some of the comments from Deb. Joe, if you could put the comments from Deb back up, I would love to read that. Okay, thanks. Okay, so Deb was saying that had to be so hard. Oh, there you are. You're back. Thank you for sharing with us. As a doula, it's expected. But as a nurse, not knowing, that had to be hard. And even doulas, nurses, we still are human, and we still have the same emotions and feelings and levels of concern that everybody else does. And we just, that's if Donna and Norma are back to hearing me and I can hear you. Oh, I don't know. Over there. Okay. So I was just reading Deb's comment about that had to be hard on you, on both of you. Wow, I'm thinking, if Norma, you're there, how was it for you to watch your significant other go through this? What was your feelings along as this was going on? Okay. Maybe it's just a internet issue, maybe. And Wayne is here. He's feeling a little overstimulated, but he's shining his light. And thank you, Wayne, for being here. And thanks for everybody's patience. It looks like we're just having a little technical difficulty right now. I did want to ask Donna and Norma, when we get them back, to share with us a little bit about her mother, Donna's mother's experience, who was on hospice during this time. No. Wow. All right. It looks like we're just frozen here. So, Joe, maybe we'll just have a commercial break for now, and then we'll come back with Donna and Norma, the facilitators and host of Caring for the Caregivers.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
All righty. Hello. Welcome back.
Hi. I think we're
welcome back, Donna and Norma. Thank you so much. We are on with Donna and Norma, who have a program here on New Thought Media Network at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The title of their show is Caring for the Caregivers, and they're just doing tremendous good work in the world, not just here on New Thought, but even in their own personal lives, just doing tremendous, wonderful work. And I just want you to know, I want you both to know that I really do appreciate what you're doing, and you're inspiring me to be a better taker care of a caregiver. So I was asking before we went to break, I was asking Norma how she was able to hold what was going on, watching Donna go through such a tremendous, hellacious time, really, with work. How were you able to move through that?
Well, I was monitoring her pretty closely daily, not just her health, but her mental acuity, because a lot of times people will show you things without actually showing you things. But we had a very rigorous practice of when she got home from the bus that would take her to the hospital, she practically undressed in the hallway, put all her clothes into a garbage bag,
Mm-hmm.
and we get them to the cleaners and get them all taken care of that way. Every morning when she left, I made up these little Ziploc bags of essential oils that had foods for the healing. We had stress away. We had RC for the respiratory care, and I'd make those up and send several with her for not just herself but for the other nurses too that wanted them. Because a lot of times when they're going through their stuff,
Yes.
in the moment, open up that little bag, take a whiff, and it would have a calming effect on a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was just little practices that we put into place that kind of helped them get through the day, and then specific things we did to keep the cleanliness up, so we didn't bring anything into our personal space.
Yes.
To comment on something you said earlier about, saying things that you might not even be aware of that's helping people. Donna, when we said we wanted to be used, use me. That's what we said in that airport. When I was massaging some of these people, they would tell me about Donna on the bus in the mornings on the way to the hospitals, giving them words of inspiration, having them all go through and do a gratitude to keep their minds in a positive aspect, not dwelling on all of the death and things that are going around. And that really helped a lot of them. Donna didn't even realize she was again just doing her normally inspirational self, and it really helped people get through their shift.
Mm-hmm.
It actually happened to where somebody said, well, we just want to be in silence today. We don't want to do any gratitude or anything. And it was like, okay, I guess we want, to do it. It was like pulling teeth. Was there anybody grateful for anything? It would be like crickets. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is what I'm grateful for. And a couple of people occasionally would join in. But for the most part, we had a bus full of people and nobody would want to engage. And so I had like maybe 3 days of not doing it. And then I got a message from someone that said, do you not love us anymore?
Oh.
It's my information. And I thought, well, I didn't think anybody was listening or even wanting to engage. I'm trying to do something trying to boost your immune system this way. And, I shared articles on how gratitude's helped with the immune system boosting because we're stepping into a war zone. Right. And just like, and they're like, Miss Donna, without those, we don't continue. Our day just it starts out crazy. And I was like, okay, I guess I could go back to doing a little bit of something, Yeah. And so when I started breaking it up, instead of doing it every single time, we started doing it differently because we had maybe one instance where meeting the team lead, the person above me came on our bus because some behaviors that were made, awareness was made, and she rode with us, and the silence and everybody could cut the tension, and it was like, oh my God, it's so different to come from that space going into work as opposed to coming from the other space, and people started realizing what an asset it was.
They could see the difference. They had to be allowed to experience the other part to be able to appreciate that, wow, someone's offering me another perspective. And I must say, Donna, it just feels like that you're just that natural, inborn cheerleader. That's always part of who you are. And just accepting that, because that was a gift in the middle of this, I'll just say war zone again, because that's the only thing that I can think it must have been through.
It
And
felt
so,
like a war zone.
And too, that's how we balance people, because she's very much the cheerleader to keep you engaged, and I'm the grounder.
yes, and she needed that so that she didn't completely give herself away, because that can happen. That can happen when it comes so naturally, and when it comes from a natural place that you're probably not even thinking about, writing a script. What am I going to say tomorrow? It probably comes in the moment. So it's just that both of your balance, a good balance for each other. Debs was giving me some cues over here. She said something about a plane ticket story that you must share.
So,
Yeah.
another one of the miracles that happened was when I had to use the teaching big time, that whole God is everywhere thing. I had to use that teaching because mom was on hospice at the time and really was going through it. And I got a phone call from the nurse that said, hey, she asked for you. And that was you to say, I might have to go home early from this assignment. So we went ahead and purchased some plane tickets. We were going to come home, spend a little bit of time, figure out what was going on with mom. And just as we went to check into the plane, to check in to board the night before, no, I couldn't check in. And I was like, what is going on? So we called the airline. The airline said, oh my God, it was canceled for some odd reason. I don't know what happened. So then she went back in and put it back in. Our card was, was accepted and everything. And we went to check in. And again, I checked in, but then Norma couldn't check in. And I was like, what's happening? And then it came back that it was canceled again. Both tickets were canceled. And we're like, we didn't cancel. They're like, someone canceled these tickets. I'm so sorry, ma'am. I don't know what to tell you. And I was devastated because here's my mom. And we called Reverend Cindy, phone a friend. Our mentor, oh my God, I can't get home. My mom is dying. She's in the veil. And she asked for me, and my physical presence is needed. As her caregiver, that's what I want to do, right? Well, that's going to happen when you have to stand on the outside of the window and wave, or be on virtual because you can't go in. It's COVID. So I said, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I was in such pain until it occurred to me that she was asking me to meet her in the veil. I said, oh, wait a minute. That God's everywhere. And that there's no time or space. And if I was going to look at this as a metaphysician, I don't physically need to be there to talk to my mother. So I lay on the bed. I held the pillow right there like I was holding her. I imagined her in her hospital bed, and I spoke to her. Yeah. Time and space, and plus I do Reiki. I'm like, I could have done a Reiki. So that's what I did. And I stepped into that meditation space. And I spoke to my mom, soul to soul, across time and space. And then I got ready for work, got dressed, got on the bus, and got told that she passed. And she was calling me to meet her in the veil to say goodbye. And I thought I had to do it the other way, which is so she was like, the spirit kept saying, no, you're not getting the message. This is an opportunity to step into a greater expression and a greater understanding of spirit expressed as everywhere. Step into principle. And I wasn't getting it. I was stepping into my humanity that was grieving for my mom. And because I got called to that experience, I was able to have one of those beautiful things. Yeah. It changed my life.
Yeah. The divine said that you already have the ticket. You didn't need that physical ticket. You already have it. And that's a reminder that we have it in every situation, everything that we encounter, seeing that way, we have the ticket.
But looking back, you can see it. But when you're in it, and the grief is upon you, and you're feeling the heaviness that is, the pain of carrying, you're thinking that this is how I need to do it because that was the old way. But now I was being called to a new way and to use principle in our teaching. And it gave me a sense of closure with my mother. And now the relationship I have, before I had to be the mom because she had dementia, I had to care for her. My mother is in the Great Mother, and she gets to be my mom in every tree and every sunset. I feel her energy, and I can recognize it because I have this awareness of spirit everywhere. I love the teaching so much.
Yeah. And it sounds like, I know, as you were saying, in the moment, it feels overwhelming. But now look at the richness and how many people you've been able to share this with.
Yes.
Because of the way it happened. If you'd gone on the plane, got home and been with mom and just loving her up there, but you got to love her up in a bigger, fuller, a wholeness way. And to share that with us.
And she taught me that. And she called me to that experience so that I could learn that and to get a full feeling of the essence that is God. I got a chance to feel it and to allow myself to be aware of it. I'm always in it, but was I aware? And in that moment, she gave me that gift of the awareness of the divine presence that is everywhere because she was in the veil.
Mm-hmm.
And when she taught me that lesson, she said, now you have it. Teach us. And she was able to sing.
And what's your mother's name, Donna? I always like to use the name. What's your mother's name?
It's Madge Lori Carter. And yes. Madge Lori Carter is what she started as and ended as Madge Lori Carter.
Well, I just thank Madge for giving us this gift through you, for giving you the gift that you're now sharing with us. And we're almost at time, and I just want, oh gosh, I can't believe this. Are you sure you can't stay another hour? I don't think there's any program after this one. No. What I was just going to ask is just one tip from you, Donna, and one tip for Norma. One tip for caregivers. One thing that you would say is a takeaway from this program today as a caregiver. One tip that you'd like to share.
My one tip, honestly, is just recognizing that you're not a machine. You're a human being with human needs, and you have to recognize that you cannot do all of it.
Yes.
You have to do it, because if not, you will deplete, and it's dangerous. And if you're not there, who's going to care for the person that you're trying to care for?
Thank you. Thank you. Norma?
For me, I'd say, yes, sure up your arsenal, your tool bag, with any tool that you think might help you when you're in said stressful situations. But the main one is to have that friend, that phone friend, someone that can call you and maybe even just remind you of your power, remind you of your strength, remind you of your tool. Because you may not think of the things that, like Donna, with the whole, meeting her mom in the void, in the veil. She knew how to do that, but she had to be reminded. So have that friend that's close and can bring you back to principle.
A mentor that works and knows the truth and sees you and able to do it.
And thank you both. And I would like to add just one tool that I find. Take 10 minutes in the morning for yourself. 10 minutes that it is your time. If you want to read a little something, if you want to hear some music, take a little, just 10 minutes. If that's all you do, that's the time you have to spare. But take that and use it as your time. That feel that you're nourishing you in those 10 minutes. And I'm telling you, that will go a long way, especially when you're a caregiver and have your own family that needs your care. So I just appreciate both of you. I honor you. I would like to be you when I grow up, but I refuse to grow up. So I'm just going to still be Bonnie, your doula for grief, who's available here for private grief coaching, grief coaching. And I just want everybody to promise me today that you will be tuned in at 8 p.m. tonight Eastern Standard Time for these two beautiful spirits to share their love and their guidance with us. And so just thank you both. Thank you for being here. So, until next time. Ciao.